Welcome to the lecture for Chapter 3 of Writing Logically and Thinking Critically, the structure of an argument. In this chapter, we will examine how to identify premises and conclusions in an argument, how to identify hidden assumptions, how to write a summary, and how to distinguish between an argument and an explanation. So what exactly is an argument? In logic, an argument is a rational piece of discourse, written or spoken, that attempts to persuade the reader or listener to believe something in particular. We can argue about books, films, athletic teams, and cars, as well as about abstractions found in philosophy and politics. Whenever we want to convince someone else of the rightness of our position by offering reasons for that position, we are presenting an argument. So what is the difference between an opinion and an argument? When we offer our own views on an issue, we are expressing an opinion. There is a huge difference between voicing our opinion and developing an argument. We can begin our argument with our opinion, but we must then offer support for those opinions. But don't dismiss opinion. Be prepared to defend them with good reasoning. When we look at premises and conclusions, we know that they both work together. Premises are the reasons that support the conclusion, and the conclusion is the key assertion that the premises support. For a group of assertions to be an argument, the passage must contain both these elements, a conclusion and at least one premise. Take a look at the graphic on the right. Here we see the walls of the house represent the premises, and the roof of the house is the conclusion. If the premises are weak, the roof will fall in, and the conclusion will be debunked. Joining words help us make logical sense out of what are conclusions and what are premises. It shows us the logical relationships between ideas. Because and since frequently introduce premises. So, therefore, thus, hence, and consequently often introduce conclusions. Conclusion because premise, and premise, therefore conclusion. Joining words are essential for conveying a logical thought. Standard form can be used to reduce an argument to its essence, premises and conclusions. Let's take a look at this example. Because fracking lowers natural gas prices and reduces American dependence on foreign oil, all states should allow it. Here we clearly see the first premise, fracking lowers natural gas prices. The second premise, fracking reduces American dependence on foreign oil. And the conclusion, therefore, fracking should be allowed in all states. Please note that when writing in standard form, the three dots made by a period and colon on your keyboard, it's a symbol in logic meaning therefore. And remember, in order to have an argument, you must have at least one premise and a conclusion. Please turn to page 55 and complete exercise 3A using Word and upload it to the assignment section in Module 3 called Exercise 3A. Sometimes the precise direction of an argument seems ambiguous. Deciding which is the conclusion and which are the premises can be unclear. So look for what is the most reasonable thing to believe. The concept of Occam's razor, the simplest explanation is usually the correct one, will serve us well. Occam wrote, "What can be done with fewer assumptions is done in vain with more." Sometimes arguments come to us incomplete and depending on hidden assumptions. A hidden assumption is a premise or conclusion that is unstated. Critical thinking depends on the ability to discern what a writer or speaker leaves implicit, unsaid, between the lines of what he has made explicit, what he has clearly stated. Take this bumper sticker, for example. Driver carries no cash. He's married. What's the hidden assumption that we take away from that? Well, one of them could be that he carries no cash because his wife takes all of his money. A word of caution on incomplete arguments. The danger of incomplete arguments may leave the reader to supply their own assumptions. Now, this can be a problem since when we write an argument, we're trying to convince the reader to our way of thinking. If we allow them too much leeway, they may supply their own assumptions. If the issue is controversial, the risk of distorting the argument increases if we have too many hidden assumptions or incomplete arguments. Remember that standard form is placing an argument in a format that reveals only the premises and conclusion. So when we're dealing with hidden assumptions, we put any hidden assumptions when we're writing standard form into the square brackets. Please turn to page 62 and complete exercise 3C. Please upload your answers into the assignment for 3C in Module 3. Also, please turn to page 65 and complete exercise 3D. Please upload your assignment as a file into the assignment for 3D. Please include a link to the article you use. Like standard form, writing a summary can be useful to reveal the important premises leading to a conclusion. Remember that summaries are complete and concise and should exclude opinion and reference. Here are the steps to writing a successful summary. 1. Read the piece to determine the writer's main point. Write the conclusion in your own words. 2. Write a sentence expressing the most important points in each paragraph in your own words. 3. Write a first draft. Make sure that the beginning includes the title and the author of the piece. 4. Edit your draft by eliminating repetition. 5. Check the edited draft against the original piece. Make sure you haven't forgotten any important points. And then 6. Revise for coherence. So what is the difference between an argument and an explanation? Well, in an argument, you present reasons for your conclusion in order to convince someone of your point of view. In explanation, you are clarifying what has happened, why something has happened, who someone is, or giving context to your argument. Keep in mind that an argument will often entail research, but the research is not an end in itself.